Well put by Josh Allen. Another heartbreaking exit for the Bills. When he said it sucks listening to them, kind of felt like a capital T on the them when he references the Chiefs. All we spoke about with Josh Allen not being able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs last week has transpired again. And now it begs the question, how does last night's game impact Josh Allen's legacy?
He's never been to a Super Bowl. He's been to a conference championship one time. They lost 38-20 to the Chiefs. It was a valiant effort. We thought that was the start of what was going to be several championship games. It hasn't happened. So they lose now. In the morning after, we've got to unpack it. Dan Fouts was a great NFL quarterback. Dan Fouts went to the Hall of Fame. Dan Fouts never played in a Super Bowl. Warren Moon was a great quarterback in this league, a Hall of Fame quarterback in this league. Never went to the Super Bowl either. It happens. Some guys just don't get over the hump, and Allen's young enough where he can get there. What I think of Josh Allen, though, is that this guy in these big games has been Superman. He's been awesome in these big games. It's not like he collapses and all of a sudden he's just not himself. Can we go back to this play at the end of the third quarter? They're going back and forth. It's a 3rd and long. Let's listen to Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on what could have been a career-defining moment for Josh Allen.
Sliding left. On the go. Throws. End zone. Touchdown! The Bills score from 13 yards out. Shakir hauls it in.
And that's on Snead, his first touchdown given up this year by the great corner who has not given up to anyone. He travels with the top receivers consistently, and they leave him out on an island thinking it's going to be fine. But this is a dime, not a donkey, by Josh Allen into the corner of the end zone to give Buffalo the lead.
They have the lead there late in the third quarter, and it's like and then from that point, it's the fake punt. And then from that point, it's the missed field goal. From that point, it's missing all those wide receivers deep. Sherfield drops the ball. There is no shame if your career ends and you don't get to a Super Bowl. You can still go to the Hall of Fame. Fouts and Moon did it, and others have come close. Phillip Rivers is an amazing quarterback, never had that opportunity. I just hate that we're putting him in that bucket because I think Josh Allen has been Superman in some of these games.
It's been so good, and to your point, in the biggest moments, it seems like he has some of his best games. Even a season like this where it's been up and down, and you kind of go into the game, and you're like, well, I hope Josh Allen doesn't make that big mistake that always seems to cost the Buffalo Bills. He didn't, and they still couldn't overcome. And you look at the last 4 postseasons for these guys, 0-4 in those playoff games, and 5-0 when they're facing anybody except Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And you mentioned it earlier, Kyle, when you said whether it was Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, all these great players during an era where Michael Jordan was in that lineup. For Josh Allen, you look at that game yesterday and you're watching it. You're watching the Buffalo Bills and you're watching him run around, scoring touchdown, making play after play, not making the huge costly mistake. And you finish with that game, and for a Buffalo Bills fan, you're like, what else can we do as a franchise to get to the big game? Because it seems that no matter what, in a season like this where the Chiefs seem like they don't always have it all, this is the year to finally get them. The Buffalo Bills have won 6-7 straight games, and you're watching that one, and early on they're forcing the Chiefs to kick some field goals, and Josh Allen's running and he's scoring those touchdowns. I don't know what it is in Buffalo that as you watch this game, are they a player away? You're saying, and you're just like, I don't know what else can happen that's going to get him over the hump to beat a Patrick Mahomes, to beat a Joe Burrow in these postseason games, because they seem like they have enough. And I know they had plenty of injuries yesterday that definitely factored in. But as you watch that game, you're like, Buffalo, they have this opportunity to win. And there's those plays here and there. It's a drop by Stephon Diggs. It's a missed pass to Khalil Shakir in the end zone. It's those plays, a Tyler Bass missed field goal, that separate you from being in that game. And I don't know, he's still so young. There's plenty of time to get there, but Burrow and Mahomes aren't going anywhere.
Nor Lamar.
Nor Lamar.
I think it's alarming just if you're a football consumer because regardless of how you feel about the Bills or Josh Allen, you watch him and you're like, God, that guy's crazy. Like, he's just so special, talented. And also the clock is ticking. Like, how many more years is he going to be running around like that? At some point, like, it starts to slow down or you start to break down. It's these sweet, sweet years of prime for someone that talented that has not amounted to much. You know, the expression that bothers me this morning, that it was been said a lot, is they can't get over the hump. They can't get to the hump. Like, the hump is winning the Super Bowl. They're not even at the hump. This is divisional round. This is entry-level stuff. Like I said earlier about Mahomes, like the divisional round is a warm-up game for him. He doesn't lose them. And for the Bills, it's like we lose every year in the divisional round. So what do? You have this amazing talent, and the clock is ticking. What do you do? So, there's people with pitchforks out this morning. Fire McDermott. They're not going to fire Sean McDermott. I would bet my life that they don't do that. I'll say it on TV. I just don't think they will. Now, special teams coach, sure. Keep your eye on offensive coordinator, maybe. Add better players. They added Dalton Kincaid in the first round. He made some good plays. But I think if you look around the league, in this passing league, and in your playoff game at home, you cannot hit a deep pass. You cannot get a single play of 20 more yards. Then either you got to add more fireworks or the fireworks you have aren't working anymore. This was a meh season for Stephon Diggs. I don't know what happened. It was not a good playoff game for the second year in a row. You look at somebody like the Ravens. They say, we're going to get Zay Flowers in the draft. The Packers added all these receivers. All these other teams are adding weapons, and there's still this sense of Buffalo of like, we'll Josh our way through this. We don't need to. I think there's been a clamoring amongst Bills fans for the last couple of years to spend a really high draft pick on a wide receiver. And I think it's going to become deafening now after watching what Diggs didn't do last night and what they have in the draft. All you can do is sit there and say, we will keep adding and we will keep trying to get better and just hope. Because it's not that bright this morning. I don't think it's insignificant that Joe Burrow was injured this year. I don't at all, because he's a killer. He's going to be back, and that's just another game the Bills have to win, and they don't have a good history against him either. So that was one of the senses of optimism this year, is like, oh, man, the Chiefs aren't really dominant, and this is a non-Burrow year? Like, this is it. It wasn't it. I think you add more players, you back up Josh, you hope he doesn't get disillusioned, and I think you take a long, hard look at your wide receiver room and see where you're going with it.
So 13, 14 games, you said Stephon Diggs didn't amass more than 50 receiving yards.
Average like 48 yards.
It's wild. That is not the expectations, certainly for that offense.